Incom's mainframe computer system, home to the evil sentient being known as the Master Control Program, an AI created to administer the company's computer network that ended up going rogue, enslaving other programs in the grid and even the programmer who created him, for its ultimate goal to dominate the entire world, not just the virtual one. But then, our hero rose to the occasion and ended the MCP's reign, restoring balance and freeing all other programs. His name was Tron. And that's pretty much what happens in the movie Tron, the original one from 1982 at least. The second one, called Tron Legacy, is a little different, but not entirely. Anyways, the reason I told you all this is because I wanted to go over the last two Tron movies that had come out, since the third one, Tron Ares, is coming out later this year, bringing us back to this fantastical and computerized world. And since I bet most of you only watched Tron Legacy, growing up this whole time without realizing there was an original one that came out in 1982. Or maybe you probably haven't watched either, and have no idea what I'm talking about. But fear no longer, unsuspecting viewers, as I will go over the story, characters, and the world itself of Tron to discover what makes these movies so unique. Except for the animated show Tron Uprising, which if you would like for me to cover, let me know down below. And I could possibly talk about it in a future video. With all that being said, let's get into it. It begins in the digital world, showing us how it's all connected. All the programs run as people identical to the users that created them. We then see Kevin Flynn, a coder running his program named Clue, in a bit to try and infiltrate the income system, calling it his best program yet, only to be discovered by the MCP and his minion, Sark. Let's take a quick look at how they rule over the mainframe. So first, they imprison all the programs, take their information, and then force them to participate in games that slowly eliminate each one of them. Shows us how far the MCP has managed to hijack other programs. Clue is then captured and destroyed as he refused to give any of his information. This breach causes the MCP and Dillinger in the real world to get rid of all access at Income. Now, to give some backstory, Income is a video game company, and Dillinger is the CEO, having been promoted after he stole some code from Kevin Flynn, the guy who created Clue, as a way to get back at Dillinger for getting him fired. Dillinger is said to have a part in creating the MCP to be sentient in order to administer the company's computer network, because originally it was only a chess program created by the Income founder. After banning all access, one of the workers at Income, Alan, goes to complain to Dillinger, saying it's hard to work when he can't access his program called Tron. Dillinger says he understands Alan, but tells him his hands are tied and that it's the only way for the company to be safe. Afterwards, Alan shares this with his wife Laura, who is testing a new invention, a digitizing laser that could work to take stuff from the real world into the grid. Laura tells Alan that the restriction could have likely been caused by Kevin, and in order to warn him, they decide to meet him later at Flynn's, an arcade place run by Kevin with some games that he created himself while at Income. The three talk as Kevin comes up with a plan to fix their problems. His plan being that if he can access Income from the inside, he could prove Dillinger stole his code and allow Alan access to Tron. With that being said, the three sneak in and Kevin ends up hacking a powerful computer located in the basement as Alan awaits in his office for access. As Kevin hacks away, the MCP discovers him and warns him to stop, Kevin taking his threats as a joke and ignoring him, only for him to be unaware that the digitizing laser is right behind him, and immediately after ignoring him, Kevin is hit and transported to the grid. Now he's under the control of the MCP and forced into a cell as he awaits to participate in the games. And here's the funny thing, the MCP refuses to kill him as he tells Sark to keep him alive until he suffers and dies in one of the games. Which is just dumb. Why not get rid of him then and there and save yourself the trouble? For a quote-unquote smart computer, you sure are pretty dumb. Anyways, while waiting, Kevin meets a program named Ram, an actuarial program who worked for a big insurance company. He befriends Kevin and says he'll help him prepare for the games. And by participating in these games, Kevin manages to see the serious consequences as the losing programs are erased from the grid once they are hit with the discs. After surviving a round, he sees a program who Ram says is Tron, a program created to fight for the user. Kevin recognizes it as Alan's program and the three get grouped up in a racing game. The three win each race, and Kevin manages to create an escape route. The three get away as Tron leads them to a way where they could communicate with a user. They are chased by the evil programs in these things that look like ships from Kevin's game, I think called Recognizers. They plan to reach Alan so that he can give Tron the information to destroy the MCP. On their way there, Kevin and Ram are blasted and presumed dead, as Tron continues his mission with no other choice. Kevin, of course, survives the blast, with Ram on his last breath telling Kevin to destroy the MCP. With that in mind, he takes control of one of the ships and goes to join Tron, who has allied with another program that looks like Laura, as he managed to get in contact with Alan at this place where you have to hit this cool ass pose. The new three then head their way towards the base of the MCP to finally put an end to him. They get in the battle with Sark, who has received an upgrade to take them all on. Kevin sacrifices himself to allow Tron enough time to throw his encoded disk and delete the MCP. Tron accomplishes his task, and surprise, surprise, Kevin is actually fine, as he returns to the real world with the system having been reset and Dillinger getting fired due to his secrets being revealed. Flynn is back as CEO of the company, and they lived a happily ever after. Or so we think. No, I bet you didn't actually think that since I did mention there were two movies in the beginning. But it does make a good transition. Anyways, that's the first movie. It's fun, it's enjoyable. Some of the stuff is kind of confusing, and honestly, for the majority of the movie, these guys are just spitting gibberish. It's kind of it's kind of fun to watch. But when you are in the digital world, which is most of this movie, you get to have a fun adventure with these cool methods of transportation, and overall fun interpretation of how programs work. And the visuals are also pretty cool. I mean, the outfits look cheap, but the overlay and stuff that they animated on them makes them interesting to look at least. Actually, now that I mention it, this whole world is interesting to look at. I wonder how this was made and shot and edited, since I'm sure all the sets without the digital overlay and early CGI probably looked goofy, especially when the actors are supposed to interact with the world. But honestly, I kind of feel like that's the charm of it. It makes this movie stand out, and no wonder it got sequel. So, anyways, let's look at that sequel, Tron Legacy. The movie starts off with the news catching us up on Flynn, as he has now become CEO and created yet another game. This time, the game is called Tron, which has joined his other games among some of the best selling games ever created. After that, we meet his kid as he's being told a story about Tron and Clue. The one telling the story is then revealed to be an awfully DH'd Kevin. Damn, that looks pretty rough. Afterwards, he drives away in his motorcycle, leaving the boy with his grandparents. The news comes back to later report that Kevin has disappeared, leaving his fortune and legacy to the boy, aka his son, Sam. As the years passed on, many believed Kevin to still be alive and to plan a return eventually, all while Sam has seemed to become a troublemaker, outrunning the police, probably due to some public pressure and growing up without a father. Sam heads towards the Encom building, planning to do his annual stunt and prank, interrupting a press conference featuring, hold on, Killian Murphy? Dude, what are you doing here? Oh, and there he goes. See ya, man. Where were we? Oh yeah, Sam does a stunt and then he leaps off the building using a parachute, ultimately landing to be detained by officers. Sam later returns home to be greeted by the good old Alan, coming by to see how Sam is doing since he knows he's the one who pulled off the prank. The scene shows the significance of why Sam did what he did and why he continues to do it year after year, specifically on the anniversary of his father's disappearance, hoping to bring some attention to what could have happened to his dad, as well as an act of defiance against what the company has become. Alan also reveals he came by to tell Sam about a mysterious page he received from Kevin's old office located at the Flynn arcade. Giving Sam some hope of discovering what could have happened to his father, Sam decides to investigate the old arcade, discovering the hidden office behind an old machine. Pretty cool in all honesty. And in the office, Sam finds a computer and a mini version of the digitizing laser we saw in the last movie that activates and transports Sam into the grid. And finally, we have made it to what everyone has been waiting for, the updated version of the grid. And wow, the world just looks so different here. Now looking more like a digital, futuristic city instead of just an actual plain grid. Sam is then picked up by a recognizer alongside other programs, all of them being identified to be sent to a specific location. And considering all the weird stuff that has happened, Sam is taking it actually pretty well. You know, like father, like son. Either way, he is suited by these workers, which we didn't see in the original, so I don't know what they do, but they end up explaining to Sam what this is for. Then he is sent off to compete in the games, fighting other programs and ultimately being put up against one of the best, Rinsler, who ends up giving Sam a hard time. But honestly, my boy put up a good fight. Not bad, kid. Not bad at all. And quickly, I just want to mention how great the action and camera work is in this movie. The aspect ratio changes and the CGI used to allow the camera to move around smoothly throughout the entire scene, letting the choreography to shine when the discs are being thrown around in this digital world. I also appreciate how this time around, the games seem to be more significant, with there actually being a crowd who seems to be excited about them, while in the last movie only seemed to be enjoyed by the MCP and his minions. But yeah, Sam gets his butt kicked and is about to be erased until Rinsler realizes that he is a user, due to him having some blood drops. He's then told to identify himself, which catches the attention of the one in charge, who orders Rinsler to bring Sam up for a closer look. And guess who it is? That's right, no one else but DH Jeff Bridges once again. Oh man, it still doesn't look great. Anyways, the two share a heart to heart scene as Sam explains how he managed to arrive at the grid. Or do they? As it is revealed he's not actually Kevin, but instead the program Clue, the one we heard of in the beginning and in the last movie created by Kevin, hence why he looks like him. Clue then sends Sam away to compete in the next games, which will surely get him killed as Clue is a participant. And damn, bro, does this shot go hard? And so, what is the next game, you may be wondering? Well, it's, of course, a light cycle race. I mean, of course it's a light cycle race. It's always a light cycle race. Come on, guys, we saw this in the last movie. We don't need to see it again. Now, wait a minute. These cycles look different. They look clean. And the sound. I don't remember these cycles looking so good. This whole sequence is fun to follow due to the outsmarting that Sam does, as well as the layered arena for the players to travel through. The race ends with Sam left as he loses his light cycle and is about to be erased at the hands of Clue. Until, of course, a light runner shows up to Sam's aid, with a mysterious driver who manages to escape the arena and go off road where the light cycles can't follow them. The driver then introduces herself as Quorra. It says she was watching and decided to save Sam when she realized that he was a user. She promises to take him to someone who can help, that of course being no one else than Sam's father, Kevin Flynn, as well as pretty much the creator of this entire world. Oh, this place looks pretty nice, looks pretty cool, like a dance floor. Anyways, it's sure a real heartfelt scene this time, with great music in the background, which slowly builds up to this shot of Kevin staring off into the grid, symbolizing the hope returning to him as he thought he would never see his son again. And with something having gone different, that means there might be a chance at stopping Clue. They then have dinner somehow, where Sam and his dad sort of catch up on what has happened throughout the years. Sam says he dropped out of college and stepped away from the company, with Kevin feeling a bit of blame for how his son's life has turned out. He answers Sam's question of why he never returned home, leading to some exposition of Kevin revealing that he would occasionally return to the grid with Clue and Tron to try and create a utopia. Hours of reworking the grid to near perfection. And as we know, Tron's assignment is to fight for the user, while Clue was assigned to help in creating a perfect system. As they worked on rebuilding the new grid, Kevin describes a miracle occurring, an introduction of a whole new life form, spawning from absolute thin air, called ISOs. Kevin found them extraordinary as he had no idea where they came from or what they were capable of. His plan was to introduce them to the world, until Clue felt that interfered with his assignment and betrayed Kevin. First, by killing Tron, and then by eradicating the ISOs, since he viewed them as imperfect. All of this forced Kevin to go into hiding as he couldn't return home due to the portal closing, a temporary portal that can only be accessed from the outside. And quickly, a question that I had last movie while Kevin was transported was about how time worked within the grid versus the real world. During the exposition dump, Kevin reveals that he would spend hours on the grid fixing things, which would only equate to minutes in the real world. Meaning this guy has been here for a long time. God, who knows how bro is still alive. So thanks to Sam coming to the grid, the portal has reopened, allowing them for a chance to escape the grid. With there being a duration on this way back home, Sam insists that they must go now. But Kevin refuses and said it is better to do nothing, as apparently going to the portal would all be a part of Clue's plan, since he is the one who sent the page that got Sam here, and by getting Kevin to the portal, Clue would be able to steal his disc and escape to the real world. Because apparently Kevin's disc is some sort of ultimate key to allowing Clue to go to the real world, and that would be bad, since he hates imperfection, and what's more imperfect than the real world? That would be in addition to him hating Kevin for how he reigned over the grid, limiting the connection to the real world. But you know what? I say let Clue through. I'd love to see him try. Bro would probably disintegrate himself trying. Anyways, to disagree, Kevin says to do nothing as he hopes Clue will be destroyed from the inside, while Sam decides to sneak off to go meet with this program named Zeus, someone who can help him with reaching the portal, all according to Quorra. And during this part, we get to see the city in the grid, as well as some of its citizens, appearing all relatively similar to the real world, with programs having different jobs, ways of transportation, and clothing. There are even homeless programs, which gets me wondering how that works. Could it be that the program is just really bad at its job and it gets replaced by another program instead of erased? Because if so, that's kind of sad, since you're unable to do the one job you were built to complete. Because, I mean, after that, what is your purpose now? What is your point in living? Anyways, Sam meets up with Zeus, and hell yeah, dude, that's Daft Punk in the back. You guys honestly cooked up a great soundtrack, so inspiring, so tech sounding, so iconic. Hopefully, you guys return for the next movie. But progressing with the plot, Zeus turns out to betray Sam as he calls Rinsler to his location as a way to complete his deal with Clue of taking over a part of the city, which leads to an awesome fight where Quorra is injured and Kevin arrives to Aura Farm using his cool superpowers. Which, quick note, I don't think they ever explained this, but Kevin seems to have powers in this realm where he's able to manipulate and influence the grid. But yeah, this fight is awesome, all thanks to Daft Punk and their DJing in the back. The gang gets away, but not before Kevin gets his chain snatched. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Maybe you should have hidden that someplace else instead of on your back. This one might be on you. Anyhow, Kevin repairs Quorra, revealing she's the last surviving ISO, the rare self-born lifeforms that Clue wiped out. During that, Clue arrives at this bozo's place, tastes the disc, and then blows the club up. Damn, a simple no deal would have sufficed, bro. Quorra finally reboots, and Sam catches her up with what has happened. And now I think is a good time to talk about Quorra here, since I haven't really mentioned much of her personality, even though she has been an essential part in progressing the story. So obviously she was taken in by Kevin as an apprentice, as well as to keep her safe from the others finding out. And through that we see how much Quorra has learned from Kevin, firstly through communicating with others, as well as wanting to know more about the real world, by her admiration of all the books she's read, and by asking Sam to describe the sun. All this makes her stand out from the other programs, as they all have tasks to complete, while she remains loyal. Her enthusiasm is great, especially in a world that hasn't been too nice to her. Okay, well, transitioning back to the story now, they arrive at Clue's base, where they make a plan to retrieve the disc. Actually, never mind, Quorra is just gonna act as bait. And it is during this part where Kevin finally realizes that, plot twist, Rinsler this whole time was actually Tron reprogrammed by Clue. That's right, Clue has been reprogramming all the programs thought to be erased in order to create an army that would be able to reach the world. Damn, I really do say program a lot in this video. Which is clearly expressed in the speech that Clue has in front of the other programs, promising to them that he won't betray them and that by going to the real world, they'll be able to create a perfect system there. During that, Sam sneaks into the room and takes the disc while Kevin goes to steal the light plane. Lightcopter? I don't know, something light. And dude, let me just say this real quick. This guy is hilarious. He's literally the easiest guy to flip. First, we see him here letting Sam take the disc like a good boy. And then after, when Clue's looking for someone to blame, he shouts, "Death to the user," as a last attempt to survive. I mean, he knew he was cooked, at least he tried it. Whatever keeps me alive, am I right? But yeah, then this awesome chase happens with the light flying vehicles, ending with Tron looking at Kevin and remembering his mission to fight for the damn user. Which is weird that it activates like that, but it's cool, so whatever. Tron ends up sacrificing himself to let the others get away as he slows down Clue, ultimately falling into the digital ocean and never to be seen again. The big three get to the portal bar, then stopped by Clue, who somehow teleported. Sam ends up getting across with Quorra joining him using this dramatic swing. You could have just walked around him. Anyways, it happens. What we were all expecting. Another sacrifice, this time by Kevin, who baits Clue with a fake disc, ultimately merging himself with Clue as the rest escape through the portal. Showing Kevin embrace the imperfection of the world as he realized that Clue's rampage was all his fault, due to his lack of understanding of how the grid should have been all those years ago. Through this merge, the entire grid is reset and Sam returns home with Quorra. Of course, both of them very upset. But this pose though, it's still sick as all hell. Back in the real world, Sam meets up with Alan again to make him chairman and to tell him that he was right about everything. Afterwards, the movie ends with Sam showing Quorra one thing: the sun rising. That's nice. And that, folks, was Tron Legacy, the sequel to the very weird but very unique film Tron. I really think the sequel is better due to how much more fun the world of Tron seemed, instead of just guys playing around in the green screen room with the green screen objects. The world felt more lively alongside the characters, music, and action scenes, all culminating in this incredible interpretation of a program based digital world that I believe will survive the test of time. Also, something I realized, damn, these movies do start to become less about Tron. At this point, just rename them to the grid or even Flynn. Because in the first one, Tron, if anything, was a secondary character, and in this one, he is a secondary villain, referred to as Rinsler for most of the time. He got one cool moment, and that's it. I really do wonder how much he will be used in the next one, or if he will be used at all. I mean, he could be alive, but the trailer for Tron Arius makes me unsure if he will return. Because from the looks of it, this time around the programs and things from the grid will be coming to the real world. Meaning we might barely get to see the grid, which is easily always the fun part of these movies. But I guess if they can make it work, I'll let them cook. Anyways, we'll see what happens and how they make that work. But in the meantime, we still have Tron Uprising. As I said earlier, let me know if you would like for me to cover Tron Uprising as well, since I heard it was pretty good and went further into the lore involving Tron and Clue's turn. Something that was shown in this movie, but I believe focused more on Tron in the show. But that's all the time I had for now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you next time when I remember to upload.